A new season in silverware is the ultimate ambition in Louisville, and the dream begins today on WDRB. .77 degrees and sunny in Louisville, Kentucky. Could you ask for a better day for a home opener? The Kings Cup kicks off along with the 2017 season. It's Louisville City FC and St. Louis FC. Hello, everybody. Mike Watts, joined by the former MLS pro with the Tampa Bay Mutiny and U.S. Youth National Teamer, Albert Munoz. Opening day always carries a little bit extra, doesn't it, Albert?
Absolutely. It's a great feeling to be at this field in one of these classic matchups. I'm sure all the players are very, very amped up to play this game today.
And we are too. When you take a look at St. Louis, they bring back just 4 players, which means they bring in a lot of fresh blood. That means bringing in a guy who went from high school straight into the USL in Jose Angulo, who won an MVP, but he's trying to refine that form.
Absolutely. Angulo is an exciting player. He's actually Colombian, just like I am. So he's I'm sure is a very technical player that wants to make a difference this season.
And went pro right out of high school, just like you did. Meanwhile, for Louisville City, Cameron Lancaster, could he be the next in a great line with Matt Fondy and Chandler Hoffman of great scorers?
Yes, sir. I mean, absolutely. Having some stints in Europe, he brings a lot of experience. So Cameron Lancaster is an exciting player to watch this season.
Maybe the best change for St. Louis is coming in goal as we look at their lineup. David Legoric is into the equation, the former All-USL player with Colorado Springs. Who else stands out?
Well, Voleski, I mean, the forward, he seems to have a big presence up front. He's looking to make a difference this season.
The former Rochester Rhino, 18 goals in the last 2 years. Meanwhile, for Louisville City, a lot of familiar faces, some unfamiliar, particularly on the 2 wide wings. This is a group that has high expectations.
Yes, sir. Del Piccolo is a player that's exciting to watch. He's a left-footed midfielder, crafty, great curve on that shot. He should be making the difference this game today.
So teams are entering the field of play. We're minutes away from kickoff here in Louisville.
The heat is hot. You should have some adult beverages when you go with the heat.
We come here pretty much every Friday now. We've been here several times and we love it.
Everything is fantastic, sides and all.
Chicken and waffles, it's excellent. It's the best place you can get it.
It's so hot, you actually get a buzz from eating this.
You come get takeout that tastes like something you cook at home. That's what keeps me coming back.
When my hair is too long, I don't feel right. But when I get a cut, I'm me again, only better. My tattoo gets feistier. My crazy eye snaps to attention. I become my own Wi-Fi hotspot.
I just downloaded the entire internet.
And trust falls? They don't even scare me anymore.
That pomade really broke my fall.
Get in, get out, back to greatness. Download the online check-in app. Great clips. It's gonna be great.
Box combo, please.
At Raising Cane's, we do one thing. And we do it better than anyone else. So why not let our food do the talking?
Love in the window.
Raising Cane's, only the best chicken finger meals. One love.
Boomba's Pizza and Tap House in Louisville is the place to watch the game with your friends, where you'll find what Food Network says is the best pizza in Kentucky. Game day and social hour specials starting at just $2, with an award-winning menu and the city's best beer list. Just one slice of our craft pizza and you'll come back for every game. With 5 area locations, Boomba's is Louisville's destination for pizza, beer, and sports.
Louisville City FC and St. Louis FC kicking off Slugger Field, and Louisville City is found to be in an offside position at the outset. Mike Watts, Albert Munoz welcoming you. A great crowd on hand in this The third season of Louisville City FC soccer. Colin Radosav is the central official for this affair. The first of the Kings Cup matchups as Louisville, who won the cup last year, tries to retain its trophy in this rivalry. A throw coming for Ryan Howe. At the outset to start a season, Albert, you want to get off to as good a start as you can. And you think about that in a singular game, but even think about it in the first 5-10 minutes. You want to get a few touches and feel pretty comfortable, right?
You want to shake off the anxiety, the pressure. I mean, you've been leading up in a long preseason up to this first game. So the first few minutes will be a scramble to get the pace.
Morad. Spinning out was Jimenez, the outside back, pinching ahead. Morad involved. Takes the ball away from Valesky. And here's Ranjit Singh, who found himself square in the middle, firing that off of Tosh. A goalkeeping battle again in this preseason. St. Louis really bringing heat right now as Williams trying to combine with Smith to get it out for Louisville, and finally they do. And Louisville a chance to move forward now. Lancaster trying to sneak by into the box. Turns. Bounds down to Davis, whose touch lets him down. And Louisville was able to not only beat that pressure, but get the ball upfield and give themselves a real chance there.
That was a great run by Lancaster. I mean, he was able to get that cross off. Unfortunately, Davis wasn't able to settle it well. Maybe it's the first touches.
Yeah, he's going to be interesting this year, isn't he? A guy who maybe played a little more wing last year with Chandler Hoffman in the equation, but you are an attacking midfielder. You know as well as anybody. You're just trying to get comfortable at that striker position, that attacking position, and maybe get used to playing away from the wings in the early going.
It is a bit of a transition, but I mean, if you're a creative player, you're playing out wide, you're trying to get the ball upstream. Once you turn into an attacking player, a forward striker, it is a little bit of a different mentality.
Williams, the former Red Bulls man, fires it out of play. A throw for Ryan Howe out of Rockford, Illinois. Williams chasing backwards, kicked out by Angulo. Took a deflection and a throw for Sebastian Dalgard. And this St. Louis team that finished 14th in the Western Conference last year.
Mike, as you can tell in the first few minutes, there's a lot of players bunched up. I mean, hopefully they start opening up a little bit so they can actually spread the ball better and have less pressure when they receive the ball. This will take some time, I'm sure.
Ripped from well outside. Ranjit Singh there to handle it in the 6th minute. And the goal kick coming for the 23-year-old who hails from Ontario but represents Trinidad and Tobago internationally. Chested towards Angulo. Kicked long, Lancaster chasing. Cochran heads it back. And a touch for Dave Legoric. Had plenty of offers, but knew where he wanted to spend his 2017 season with Preki in St. Louis after a great year in Colorado Springs in 2016. Guzman. Fired wide right, the outside back moving ahead. Mirkovic. Sheldon. Lifted over the top, Sheldon coming, but Ranjit Singh gets there first for Louisville City.
That was a great idea, Mike. He was trying to penetrate the ball through a couple of players who were across. Fortunately, the goalie came out and intercepted it.
Kicked ahead by Toch. Bounds down. That's a fortunate bounce for Louisville. Comes to the top of the box. And the shot from Ownby deflected into the corner. Ownby catching up again. Looking for the call, and the central official doesn't give one. Jimenez over the end line, and maybe this game can finally take a break and breathe a little bit.
Oh, yeah. We're ramping up and down. A few more minutes. Hopefully they'll settle well and they'll start getting more cohesive on the passes.
You've played in many of an opener variety or first game after a long layoff. Is preseason ever really enough to get your wind back?
Absolutely not. I think it takes a couple of games in the season to really get your feet.
Speedy getting his foot in there again. Here comes Ownby. His first game with the club. His cross deflects off of Pleva. And a corner for Louisville City in the 8th minute.
Now, Mike, a lot of these teams, both these teams actually have a lot of newcomers. It would take a while for a team to really come into play after a few games, after they get to know each other a little bit better.
Oscar Jimenez, the cross, headed off the crossbar, and it stays out somehow. Smith, back for Ballard. Smith plays it in again towards Lancaster. Bounds down to Angulo, who successfully navigates by Davis. And here's Guzman. He lobs it long. Ranjit Singh using his noggin to get it away. And Jimenez against the pressure of Guzman. And Del Piccolo takes it. And now Williams, Louisville, finally gets possession back. Execution on that set piece sure looked at midseason form.
Oh, yeah. Great header. Going back to that play where Angulo got the ball in midfield and he cut the ball and he created the play outside, that was a great lead up to potentially trying to get to the end zone for the other team.
Del Piccolo, the captain's armband in this affair. Along towards Ownby. Comes to Davis, the former Orlando City man. Played with Coach O'Connor. That stop. And a throw for the men in purple. Davis lobs it up the right side. Ballard, the rookie who's impressed so much out of Indiana. Plays it back to Davis. Working the end line. Retreating to the corner. Mirkovic wins the ball for St. Louis.
It's a battle for possession at this point. Both teams are seeking to reach that possession level where they feel comfortable touching the ball upstream. In my past experience, it's taken roughly 15 minutes or so in the first half for players to really get comfortable.
Flag up for offside. Sometimes it feels that's the case in any game, much less the opener of the season. And speaking with coaches throughout the league this week, everybody sort of said we were trying so many different lineups and trying to find out who works well together. Now you're just trying to get an 11 that consistently gets minutes together, right?
Correct. And that might take half a season to really, really kick in, especially with newcomers and newer players, younger players. Nevertheless, it's exciting to watch.
Williams took a tumble, and an insightful fan next to the crowd, Mike, saying that should be a yellow. Official, really a common foul given. It's a Louisville team that was second in the East last year in goals scored and attacking early in the 12th minute. Del Piccolo. Jimenez trying to widen the play.
Just wide. It's a great pass by Del Piccolo, though. Great idea to open up the field.
Valesky. Sliding challenge, but the ball squirts up the line. And Ranjit Singh there to handle the pass aimed for Angulo. Louisville trying to attack the wing with Sebastian Dalgard, the new man from Oklahoma City for St. Louis, but it breaks down. Piccolo. Through ball held up well by Lancaster. Still trying to come away with the ball. Finally comes to Williams. Dalgard. Howe. Leski got a piece. Tough tackle. Kept by Louisville. Lobbed ahead. And away from David Legoric. Goal kick for St. Louis. Gorick maybe stands to be the single biggest free agent signing during this most recent offseason. An all USL pick who moves from Colorado Springs over to St. Louis. And when you get torched defensively the way St. Louis did much of last year, sometimes a goalkeeper with some experience is exactly what you need.
I couldn't agree more, Mike. That's a huge plus for that team.
Should I really be asking an attacking midfielder about the importance of a goalkeeper for communication?
My worst nightmare.
Not too close to the goalie, right?
Right.
Up the left side and flag up against Angulo for offside.
Maybe it's the reverse, Mike. Maybe attacking midfielders are the biggest nightmare for goalies. They're always trying to chip players from outside anyways. The goalies, if they step out of the line, attacking midfielders will try to chip you, so they have to beware.
Louisville Slugger Field in Kentucky. We welcome you to the 2017 home opener for Louisville City and the beginning of a terrific broadcast agreement in unison with USL Productions. We're excited to have you with us all season long, both at Slugger Field and right here at home on your TV, as Guzman keeps it in on the right-hand touchline.
That was great hustle by Guzman on the right. They need to do more of this. They need to touch the ball as much as possible on the ground, work upfield together, save the legs. But again, it might take 15, 20 minutes into the game to settle down a little bit. There's a lot of pressure right now.
Albert Munoz is right. We're about 20 seconds from this thing starting to calm down a little bit. Headed back towards Valesky, but Ranjit Singh the only player pursuing. Fans along the railings, fans among the Coopers certainly excited for this affair. The first of an extended regular season in the USL. There have never been more games played in this league than there will be this year, and to start against St. Louis, an exciting opening match in the King's Cup, which Louisville last year won by aggregate 7-1, but 2 wins, no draws, no losses as the teams in separate conferences. Lobbed out throw here for St. Louis. Ryan House slowing it down. Played it in Loyola. Preki actually saw him at a Loyola SIU Edwardsville game and really liked what he saw. Brought him into the equation. Just 23 years old. He had a knee injury that ended his junior season and his first senior season a little bit early as a foul tracking back. Cedes the ball back to Louisville, who want to go and turn it over instantly.
Speaking of Preki, he's such an attacking-minded coach, former player. He's going to want a lot of attacking players in his team. It's going to be exciting to see how this season develops for St. Louis.
And the last time he led a team for a full season is 2014. He won the USL championship with Sacramento. He's succeeded in this league significantly. His own B chasing up to Gorick, who fires it back the other way.
Well, we're talking about Preki here. World-class former player. World class.
Preki Radosavljevic, of course. And his son joining the team as well, not in the 18 on day number 1. The tough decisions, as they say. But a guy who's experienced great success. And St. Louis wanted to make significant changes to the franchise after last year. They're part of the St. Louis Scott Gallagher Academy system in St. Louis. And they've decided to bring in a real, truly pro coach to lead a truly pro franchise in this 3rd year as they seek their first USL Cup playoff berth as Gorick takes over. In total, this St. Louis team has 5 different players who have won a USL Cup championship.
That's great experience.
It's exactly what you're looking for. And you started with the Tampa Bay Mutiny back when they were merely an expansion team. You're the 5th youngest player in the league at that point. And I got to think having some guys that maybe have won in various places or some veterans, even if it isn't specifically in this league, must be a pretty good thing to have as you try and grow a franchise that hasn't made the playoffs yet.
It's almost a must-have. I mean, the locker room. I mean, you bring that combination of youth and veteran. Oh, we have a lead up here.
A terrific move, and the shot is offside netting as fans exploded out of their seats. And a near miss for the youngster out of Indiana, Richard Ballard.
It's a great turn there. Might have wanted to go to the second post, but he had pressure on his back, so it was tough to get that angle. It's good effort, though.
Ballard, just a kid. And they very selfishly, and they even admitted, selfishly hoped he didn't get an MLS Combine invite because they wanted him in this Louisville equation. Davis finding Ownby. Struggled to keep the ball. Lines off.
Great lead up.
St. Louis player.
Yeah, as you were mentioning before, having the combination of experience in the locker room is so important for a young player coming out of high school or even from college. You're talking about world-renowned players in all different leagues and experience. It definitely helps the team build throughout the season.
Guzman stumbles down, one of those experienced players who came out of Chico State to Sacramento and won a title with Preki. Dealt with some injuries the last couple of years, but if you've watched Republic play over the last few seasons, Octavio Guzman is among the best midfielders in this league for a 3-year stretch now. And he'll be taking this restart.
It's a workhorse. Great athleticism down the line, right wing.
And great hair. Guzman on the restart.
So the game's definitely slowed down, as you see, Mike. Players are opening up now, taking their pace, evaluating their touches.
Which is a good thing, because you come out of the tunnel and I bet you have enough energy to think you could run like a madman for 90 minutes straight, but it's just not there.
It's not. You have to pace yourself. The adrenaline pumps for the first 20 minutes, and after that, you obviously start settling down a little bit.
When the Coopers sound like this, you can't help but have your heartbeat raised just a little bit. A throw for Louisville City. Davis. Stalked from behind. Turning it over. And Gulo is sneaking ahead along with Valesky. A throw for St. Louis FC. Talk about experience. St. Louis has added a lot of it because they got rid of the vast majority of their franchise in the offseason. They returned just 4 players from last year. Team that finished 14th. Attack on now for Ownby, who's switched over to the right wing. Call maneuver from Morad at center back. This team for Louisville without 3 significant role players in Kay, Reynolds, and Craig. And Jimenez in the starting lineup because of it, in part. Fired that cross in and was looking again for Ownby. And Gulo keeps it in and works in on Morad. Lifts it towards Valesky. Header by Del Piccolo. And Jimenez cleans it up. Comes to Guzman, but eventually Ownby, the former Richmond kicker, carries across midfield. Ownby going one-on-one all the way down the field with Sheldon. And a real unfortunate deflection gives St. Louis the goal kick.
Great 3 touches by Angulo, Del Piccolo, and Ownby. Last 3 touches were great. Great crosses, great passes. I've seen the field open up the way I wanted to see it. And provide you better flow of the game.
Ownby trying to combine with Jimenez, the fullback who's worked his way into the midfield. Davis falling down, Guzman taking over. Williams trying to give and go.
Del Piccolo with the left foot there. There you go, great pass.
Finds Ownby. Del Piccolo, dangerous as it comes, picking out from the defensive midfield position. And this a nice run of play for Louisville City. Played low, slid towards the net, and just wide from Lancaster.
So Mike, it seems that Louisville's tactics here are opening up the field, getting those touches in. Just an example of this play coming up. They open up the field, they get to the cross in, and they have a couple of forwards trying to dig in for the goal. They're just short on that one. Great lead up though.
Kyle Smith, that right back, leading the ball up the field. And the last 2 times up for Louisville, we saw Ownby on the left and we saw Smith on the right take it up the wing without a whole lot of pressure and find a way to create for this Louisville team.
Right.
St. Louis setting up for a free kick, and Octavio Guzman will come over. Guzman into the box, headed wide, and it's a corner for St. Louis.
It's a very dangerous ball he crossed there. Anyone could deflect it and actually might go into the goal. It's a great cross.
So what can St. Louis do? Louisville has already hit the crossbar on a corner kick. And Guzman is going to try, last time, of course, it's further upfield, but the opposite side. Now he's swinging out.
Well, if we have a midfielder attacking a player coming in
Guzman
and making
bounding
contact.
that. Comes down, Mirkovic. Lofted back into the box, offside. Angulo was trying to spin around and take advantage of the service.
If he was onside, that would have been a spectacular trap. He returned and potentially had a one-on-one with the goalie.
Turn? Why would you turn? Do a backflip. Fire that thing.
A chilena, like we say in Spanish. A bicycle kick. We need to see more of Angulo, though. He's a big presence up front. He's a dangerous player. He just needs to be fed more. Dangerous balls in the front.
27th minute, Louisville City, third most attended stadium in USL last year, Louisville Slugger Field. For a franchise that leads the USL in points over the last couple of seasons, just remarkable work. 60 points last season, falling short of just New York Red Bulls 2, who eventually eliminated them in the playoffs in penalty kicks in the conference finals. There's a foul here in a dangerous spot for this Louisville City FC team.
It's a little too far for a shot, I'd say, but great proper cross could be a potential goal situation here.
And we spoke this week with Coach O'Connor. He said a lovely left foot for Del Piccolo. He could be an option.
Absolutely. Most likely you're going to have a right-footed player set up the ball here so you can actually have an ongoing momentum going into the goal. There we go.
There it is. Jimenez Bounces to Gorick.
That was a great cross. Someone came up short there.
You say you expected the right-footed player. Why did I expect the left? And you, as a former pro, automatically said, I think it's the guy with the right foot.
I guess from so many years of taking free kicks from the right side of the field, since I'm a lefty, I can have the angle curving with the left. If you see Preki actually scoring goals as a midfielder, he used to take shots from the right side of the field all the time. So typically I would expect the right footer to take that shot.
Preki took shots from everywhere. Let's go ahead.
But his trademark shot was definitely from the right side of the field.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Wicked left foot that guy had.
Attack on for Louisville. Strong work from Ballard. Can't keep that in on the touchline. And a throw for Howe in St. Louis. Davis plays it low. Gorick dives. That may have been on frame, but Gorick made sure it didn't find the net. Some screaming from Christian Valesky.
Valesky felt that it was a foul.
Here's Ballard. Louisville attacking. Ownby tries to bring it down, fires the shot. Guzman deflects it out. And it's a corner for Louisville City as they seek that first Kentucky lottery goal of the year.
So we're seeing somewhat of a matchup here between Ownby and Guzman. Guzman intercepted the ball well, but Ownby's been a presence in the midfield the last couple of minutes.
The Coopers making a ton of noise behind this goal. They would explode if Jimenez is able to put another strong ball in the box. They have hit the crossbar from here before. And this just over the top of the entirety of the 21 on that end of the field. And it's a throw for St. Louis. Should be noted, the St. Louligans, the supporters group for the St. Louis FC side, they sent 3 full buses, over 200 fans, here to Louisville.
I'll tell you what, that's such an important factor for a team, for the spirit, right? Getting behind your team, that's exceptional for these players to go into this game having the fans following them.
Although when you hear someone screaming air ball on a corner kick from the home team,
it's a little worrisome.
Half an hour played, no goals yet in the Kings Cup. First game of the year for both sides. Louisville and St. Louis, as Paulo Del Piccolo now from the other side can make use of that left foot.
Absolutely. See if he curves it in, makes it a dangerous situation for the defender.
Del Piccolo. Gorick punched it away. Guzman coming free. Putting on the Jets. Jimenez seeking the throw, but it goes for the roadside. How about Del Piccolo with that left foot?
You need to connect one of these balls into an attacker or striker coming in. Hasn't happened yet.
Mike Watts, Albert Munoz, the former MLS man in Tampa. Bring you to USL's season opening game across the league. And when you opened up USLsoccer.com to peek at the schedule when it came out, I think most everybody had this circled as a great game. Lancaster trying to turn and deflects out. Another corner for a Louisville side that has had really strong service in this game on set pieces of all varieties.
Yes, Mike, I've noticed that we need Lancaster to try to connect in one of those set pieces. He's the go-to man. He's the person they want in the 6-yard box to turn in the penalty area to make sure he tries to make that goal connect.
Make sure you cut the highlight early when Lancaster heads this in. Here's Del Piccolo. Aimed down by Smith. Del Piccolo picking a great spot in front of the net. Comes to Davis. Second bite at the apple. And Pleva knocks that into the dugout. And it's another corner from the opposite side, and Jimenez is back to work.
So, Mike, we could definitely say that at this point, possession is definitely on the Louisville side. We have a lot of pressure on the far end. As we like to say, it smells like a goal.
This played low. Opportunity for Louisville. And kicked well out of play by Del Piccolo. And that ball ricocheted through everybody, didn't it?
He shot with his right foot, guys. Lefties rarely have a right foot, let's be honest.
The reaction to watch was actually 22 in purple. You could see Davis the fourth, hands over his face, because Del Piccolo had that hop on him at the last moment. Del Piccolo, a guy that James O'Connor said maybe one of the most underrated guys in the Eastern Conference. Certainly one of the most underrated on this team. A fan favorite, to be sure. A third-generation American. His dad played at UCLA. And a great defensive midfielder who's standing over the ball now.
Yeah, just a scramble here in the midfield. Small foul there.
Jurkovic, the guilty party, and is picked up by Gorick.
Going back to the Pico, center midfielders, holding midfielders typically have to be the heart of the team, right? Everything should go through those players on the ground so they can start distributing the ball going forward.
And Chitze got there before Angulo's hopeful right foot. To your point.
Yeah, so as you can see here, as the defenders come up and they transport the ball through the field, Del Piccolo should be the first point of contact. He should be receiving the ball, turning and looking for the attacking midfielders, or potentially the strikers.
How about Omby, 10 in purple, who's switched from the left wing to the right wing momentarily, now back to the left. Coming over from Richmond, really having a big impact in this game. One where Louisville is without the services of Canadian Youth International Mark Anthony Kay, who typically finds himself on one wing or another. Brought down by Smith.
I definitely see a great partnership in the middle from Omby and Del Piccolo.
Ballard taking it towards the end line again. Cochran last to touch it, and for Louisville, another corner kick as they continue to apply the pressure against a St. Louis team that last year allowed 25 first-half goals. Del Piccolo towards Smith. Davis trying to circle back around on Howe. The two colliding. Throw for his roadside from St. Louis, who switched from the Western Conference back to the Eastern Conference in this their third year under first-year head coach Preki. Ownby, good touch to play Davis. Deflected and easy enough for Gorick. And sometimes stats don't tell the full story, but 5 corners is pretty telling right now, isn't it?
That's
for
a lot
this
of
Louisville
pressure.
Side?
That's a lot of pressure on that side. A lot of opportunities.
Ownby chasing back. Shelton trying to play Guzman. Throw for Louisville. And those spiffy updated kits with the GE Appliances logo added on the front side of those. Trying to switch the point of the attack. Guzman got his foot on it. Sheldon tries to keep it. Mirkovic got a piece. It's Lancaster. Oh, Lancaster flipping over, but Davis able to keep it. Williams playing up the right side. Smith overlapping. And a throw for Louisville, and I think everyone's just happy that at least for the moment, everybody's okay.
He was winding up for that shot. He really wanted to take a shot from over the 18-yard box. Was confident on his shot.
And Mirkovic is still down for St. Louis. Has played now in 3 different places in the last 3 years, most recently at Orange County with the Blues, before that Sacramento. Actually turned 30 years old today. And maybe that's not the way you want to do it, flipping through the air like that. Tapped out by Howe. Williams nutmegging the official on the way.
That's always a goal.
Nutmegging the official?
Exactly. Great turn.
Ballard keeping it in, and then Howe lost it over the end line.
Another corner kick.
Self-inflicted wound.
All it takes is one corner kick to go into the net, so let's take a look.
It only takes one, and this is their 6th. You sort of feel that the door has been knocked on long enough.
Absolutely.
39th minute, Del Piccolo winds it across. Davis keeping it in play. And how quickly can St. Louis spring back to life? Not fast enough is Tosh tracking Jimenez. Now Morad. Mirkovic. And Gulo, long run for Dalgard, but Ranjitsingh there.
We need more of that from Angulo. We need those turns and those passes. Creative.
That look about right to you, those numbers?
Oh, absolutely. Is it safe to say they deserve a goal?
Feels that way, doesn't it?
We'll see.
I'm not sure what Opta would say about expected goals. The USL, a new agreement with one of the premier analytics sources in all of sports, joining Major League Soccer as leagues that take advantage of Opta's wide array of statistical options, including now knowing the possession count, which at this point is that 59-41 number. It's a long run here for St. Louis, and eventually the ball leaks over the end line, and Ranjitsingh will have a goal kick as Valesky still arguing his case. James O'Connor telling us this week, fortunate to have the Kings Cup in their cabinet right now. Don't want to cede it. They won both matchups last year, and they've dominated the series in its overall 2-year existence. Louisville trying to protect a 2-game win streak in the season opening game category as well, as Williams and Del Piccolo both involved, as Mirkovic is really intensely arguing the case. Del Piccolo picks up his first yellow card of the season.
It's definitely a strong tackle there.
So Del Piccolo in the book.
See what Guzman comes up with.
Little misdirection. Stoikov. Guzman again. Airmails that into the stands. A foul ball as it might be. Piccolo. Lancaster the target. Ownby. Chesting it forward. And Ownby whistled for the foul.
Mike, all Louisville's missing is just one good lead up, one good cross, and one good finish from Lancaster.
A fan base that has supported the winningest team in USL over the last 2 seasons, most points. The third most attended franchise in the league, and the fans have come out in force today. Having the games on TV certainly didn't scare anybody away, but we're happy you're with us in the 44th minute of this season-opening Kings Cup matchup between Louisville City and St. Louis. Guzman's presence helped to dislodge the ball. Valesky looking for help. Guzman there to provide it. Plays it up the wing. Sheldon deflected. Bounds down to Ranjitsingh.
Angulo and Guzman combining together well there for that lead up. They need more of that to try to penetrate to the goal.
But maybe the disappointing thing for St. Louis, who really upped their game this offseason, a ton of major signings from goalie to midfield all the way up to forward. We haven't seen a lot of Angulo combining with Valesky as Louisville charging ahead. The attack broken up, Dalgard in the area, and a player down for Louisville all the way in the back. And Jitsing seems to be a little tender at the moment. He's back on his feet for the time being. Up the right-hand side for Guzman. And Ranjitsingh down to both knees.
Must have sprained his ankle. Oh, he might have pulled his groin, huh?
And you never want to take guesses. To a certain extent, that's as educated as we're likely to be today about why he is down on the field. He really had to pick up a major role last year when Scott Goodwin got accepted to Harvard Medical School, left the team mid-season, and Ranjitsingh, who has ambitions of playing for Trinidad and Tobago at the full international level for years to come, is down for the moment. Trying to make sure he's healthy enough to go.
Might be the hip flexor.
Tim Dobrovolsky, the 23-year-old out of Rockford, Illinois, is the backup. There's 3 minutes of stoppage time to be added in this first half, but maybe more importantly, that number could grow slightly. And the trainer is saying they want to sub. Ranjitsingh is saying that he doesn't. And I'm sure you've been in a similar situation where the trainer says it's game one, let's not overdo it. And you're saying, no, let's do it. I've been waiting all year.
Players are stubborn. We are definitely stubborn. We want to play every single minute if possible. We don't ever want to stop. So that's very natural of a player that wants. But at the same time, he needs to be honest with himself. And if he can't perform, then he needs to call it.
And decision time for James O'Connor. Del Piccolo talking it over with Ranjitsingh, and it's likely they'll have someone take those kicks for him at this point. And there's the goalkeeper, Dobrovolsky, waiting to potentially come on. So Morad will come back and take this goal kick. As you can see, that right leg is continuing to bother Louisville City keeper. And for St. Louis, you want to get a bit of an attack going here before halftime and see how well he can jump.
Absolutely, they should take advantage of that situation. They've only gone up a couple of times and had dangerous situations, but maybe all they need is one before the halftime.
Dobrovolsky is over there on the far touchline waiting to come in, so it appears that St. Louis will be making a change. This is a Louisville team that's down 3 players due to suspension from last year or international duty. Only dressed 5 subs. Of course, the USL changing from the 5 substitution max down to 3 this year. They may need to use their first sub of the year. It appears they will. on their goalkeeper, Dobrovolsky. Meanwhile, Louisville attacking here in the final minute of first half stoppage time.
Great footwork there. Too bad it was cut short there.
Angulo, Dalgard, so good with Oklahoma City 2 years ago. Struggled a bit more last year to make his impact felt. Lobbed for Lancaster. And a goal kick for David Legoric. And there's that change. It's disappointing for Ranjitsingh. You can see how frustrated he is. But this is clearly the move that Louisville City feels they need to make at this point.
Probably the healthiest move. No one likes to be subbed out, but he needs to be a team player here.
There was a goalkeeping battle during this offseason. Ranjitsingh had the edge really with his experience. Last year, 50 saves in 24 games and allowed less than a goal a contest. And for Dobrovolsky, this is just his second professional appearance, having shut out FC Montreal once last year.
Stepping up to the plate right before halftime. Great opportunity for him.
He'll need to raise his level, something that we'll talk about at halftime. And we have reached halftime. Louisville hits the crossbar in the opening 20 minutes. They dominated possession and number of quality set pieces. But at halftime, 0-0, Louisville City has to go into the locker room feeling they got the better end of that.
Absolutely. It's a bit frustrating when you have so many opportunities leading up to the field and you can't capitalize. But hopefully second half they'll come up with more opportunities.
When we come back, we've got our first half statistics to look at. During halftime, we'll take a look at the halftime highlights as well. Strong work from Louisville City, but after 45 minutes played in the King's Cup, Louisville City and St. Louis 0-0.
The most important financial decisions aren't made in banks. They're made around kitchen tables and on porch swings. They're made over dinner and over coffee by real people trying to do the right thing for their families, today and in the days to come. We understand that. In fact, it's the reason we're here. We're Main Source, and we want to be a great bank for you.
We came to the Big Apple
to find out what New Yorkers know about Kentucky.
Show me where Kentucky is on the map.
I'm going to say somewhere in this neighborhood.
Somewhere above Texas in there.
You're from New York City. Would you get your morning news from New York or Kentucky?
New York. Why are you going to go to Louisville to know what's going on in your own town?
Would you get your morning news from New York or Kentucky?
I would lean more to New York news.
Don't get your morning news from New York.
Wake up with WDRB.
The Siri's not here.
We want to know what operation he's running and how to find him.
Put the building on lockdown.
What's happening?
Mobilize everyone you got.
Are you okay?
You need to get out of here, John.
24 Legacy, all new Monday on Fox.
So, who do you think is going to win the big game?
Well, our take is,
don't be an outsider. Get the inside scoop on WDRB Sports.
Louisville City FC soccer on WDRB. Halftime between Louisville City and St. Louis FC. Mike Watts, Albert Munoz back with you. And in that first half, we saw the possession stat late in the half, Albert. Louisville dominated play. Maybe they didn't get rewarded with a goal yet, but you have to feel good about where they are after 45.
Especially being the first game, Mike. A 60-40 ratio is not bad at all. They're leading up to the goal. They're penetrating. They're capitalizing on crosses, but at the end of the day, they need to contact that striker. And that's where Lancaster needs to step up or need to find Lancaster in a better situation. But overall, Louisville has definitely touched the ball well, and we can't complain. First half of the first season, they're just getting to know each other. So I'd say overall they're doing really well.
Even more so for St. Louis. This is a team that brings back just 4 players, but you got to feel like they gradually got a better feel for the game, right?
Right. St. Louis also has had many chances, but they haven't been able to reach. They've had a lot of pressure against from Louisville on their end. But players like Angulo and Molesky, they'll be able to have better opportunities in the second half, hopefully.
So when we come back, the president of the United Soccer League, Jake Edwards, sat down to discuss the position of the league. That, along with his online note to fans on USLsoccer.com, certainly a manifesto for this league's direction in this its biggest season ever. The sit down with Jake Edwards and highlights coming up here at halftime. 45 minutes played, 0-0.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars, innovative technology, and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Welcome into the USL Network. I'm TJ Reeves. It's opening weekend, and we have President Jake Edwards with us to talk about the beginning of the 2017 season. Jake, welcome. It's only been a few months since the USL Cup was raised in New York. Very busy off-season. One of your biggest stories, though, is elevation to Division II status. Tell us more about the importance of that.
Yeah, thanks, TJ. It's been a very busy off-season, as you said. Short off-season that gets shorter every year. A lot of good things happening. One of the big stories in the off-season was the sanctioning of the USL as Division II. This is a major component of a long-term strategic plan called Destination 2020. We embarked on this a little over 4 years ago. And a component of that was raising the level of operation and sophistication of the USL as a league and as the whole enterprise, working with all the clubs to make sure we have the right ownership, we have the right facilities, we have a sufficient level of operation at each club, and build it so that it has to be as good as or better as a second division level.
2017 is also another productive year for expansion. You're bringing 3 new expansion teams in this season, as well as several new ownership groups with existing teams. What is the overall league strategy on expansion, and will we see more of it soon?
We will. So we are expanding always with a national focus, but looking how we regionalize the competition.
We have several new stadiums opening this season. I know that has been a big goal of the United Soccer League.
It's a huge initiative for us. It's been a game changer for a number of other leagues when they focused on improving the quality of the buildings. For us, it's about delivering an authentic match day experience for the fan and providing the players a very professional environment to play in.
As you start this season, it is opening weekend. The competition level is getting stronger. You have an influx of young, talented players from the United States and other places, also veteran players that you're bringing back. How do you feel about the level of competition as this season begins?
I would say this is probably going to be the most challenging season for the teams to compete in this league. We've got a really exciting blend of talent in our league now. We've got some world-class players coming in, players like Joe Cole here in Tampa, Omar Bravo, legend out of the Mexican team playing for our team in Phoenix, Sean Wright Phillips also. So we've got players that have played in the Premier League and in the international levels. We've got a core group of professionals, of veterans that have played in the MLS, USL, overseas. We've got 70 players now in the league that play for full senior international squads. So we've got a good base of really high quality and in some cases world-class talent, but we've got this really exciting group of young players who are going to be the next superstars of the national teams or of MLS, let's say, in the future.
Jake, thanks very much. Good luck with the start to the season. If you want to see the complete interview, you can go to USLsoccer.com. The season underway. Thanks for being with us.
The most important financial decisions aren't made in banks. They're made around kitchen tables and on porch swings. They're made over dinner and over coffee by real people trying to do the right thing for their families, today and in the days to come. We understand that. In fact, it's the reason we're here. We're Main Source, and we want to be a great bank for you.
We came to the Big Apple
to find out what New Yorkers know about Louisville.
What famous boxer is from Louisville, Kentucky?
Mayweather?
Evander Holyfield. Tell me what thunder over Louisville is.
Is that the Storms?
I have not a clue.
You're from New York City. Would you get your morning news from New York or Kentucky?
New York. Why are you going to go to Louisville to know what's going on in your own town?
Don't get your morning news from New York.
Wake up with WDRB.
Modern Family, it's a visual masterpiece.
Ah! I love it!
What the? It's a treat for your eyes.
Hooray!
Are you okay, sweetie?
What do you think?
It's a full spectrum of funny.
Does that make you happy?
Do I look happy? On Modern Family, nightly.
At 7 and midnight on WDRB.
So, who do you think is going to win the big game?
Well, our take is
Don't be an outsider. Get the inside scoop on WDRB Sports.
Louisville Slugger Field in Louisville, Kentucky, and plenty of fans making their way out, Coopers and otherwise. What a perfect day this is for the opening of the 2017 USL soccer season. No matter what history is written this year, the book and the first chapter begins today. St. Louis and Louisville City 0-0 at halftime. Let's take a look at some of the first half facts and figures while we have the chance. And here are the statistics from that first half. It was a 59-41 possession in total, but Louisville handling shots, more set pieces. It wasn't just possession. They possessed the ball, and they did more with it, right?
Right, absolutely. Their set pieces were key. A lot of crosses from Del Pico, a lot of corner kicks, a lot of opportunities being created. We just need to see them capitalize.
So Louisville and St. Louis, even in the goal column, perhaps most importantly. But let's take a look at the first half highlights and how we got to those stats. And from the outset, excitement abound for year number 3 of Louisville City FC soccer. Set pieces were strong from Louisville. They hit the crossbar early. So close.
That was the best opportunity. That was the closest opportunity we had in this game.
St. Louis responding a couple of times, that easy enough. Del Piccolo had a really strong first half on the whole.
Big presence, absolutely. He almost had it intervene in every single play. That was a dangerous opportunity.
Ballard off the side netting, the rookie out of Indiana. Moving forward later into the first half, an opportunity for St. Louis flying the ball in for Valesky. And there was some physical play, too. This the first big challenge of the affair coming from Mirkovic.
A lot of scrambles in this game.
Mirkovic going down again. Del Piccolo picking up the yellow card. That was in the 42nd minute. And Octavio Guzman.
Another big presence in the game so far. He's been very dangerous on the right flank with his crosses and his athleticism.
So it is halftime in Louisville, and it's still 0-0. When we come back, the second half is on its way. What do you expect to see in that half of play?
Well, I believe St. Louis is going to have to pick up their pace. I mean, they're getting pressured from all sorts from Louisville. But if Angulo steps it up and the Voskin, they connect, they'll probably have a better second half. Louisville is most likely going to come back and come back even stronger and really capitalize on those opportunities.
Well, you heard it from the man himself. Halftime here in Louisville. City 0, St. Louis FC 0. Back in a moment.
The most important financial decisions aren't made in banks. They're made around kitchen tables and on porch swings. They're made over dinner and over coffee by real people trying to do the right thing for their families, today and in the days to come. We understand that. In fact, it's the reason we're here. We're Main Source, and we want to be a great bank for you.
We came to the Big Apple
to find out what New Yorkers know about Kentucky.
Show me where Kentucky is on the map.
I'm going to say somewhere in this neighborhood.
Somewhere above Texas in there.
You're from New York City. Would you get your morning news from New York or Kentucky?
New York. Why are you going to go to Louisville to know what's going on in your own town?
Would you get your morning news from New York or Kentucky?
I would lean more to New York news.
Don't get your morning news from New York.
Wake up with WDRB.
Fox Monday.
Misery's not here.
We want to know what operation he's running and how to find him.
Mobilize everyone you got.
Are you okay?
You need to get out of here, John.
An all-new 24 Legacy. Then
Reeves Industries will introduce APB Prime.
This is $1 billion new business. The people who need our help the most can't pay for it.
You're just gonna have to trust me on this one.
an all-new APB after 24 Legacy. Monday on Fox.
So, who do you think is going to win the big game?
Well, our take is
don't be an outsider. Get the inside scoop on WDRB Sports.
Louisville, Kentucky, and Slugger Field. Second half just moments away between St. Louis and Louisville City. The third most attended home games of 2016 were right here in Louisville City. They were cool at soccer on one side of the Ohio River before it was cool on the other side. A tremendous atmosphere here yet again at Slugger Field. And when you think about this Louisville City team, they score as well as anybody in the league. The pressure is up yet again. They've reached 2 straight Eastern Conference finals. There's a fever pitch right now, Albert, among this fan base and among this city. And I think talking with James O'Connor this week, he said the support from the city, the support from the mayor, the support from ownership and the fans, really remarkable to see. And in this first game of the season against a rival in St. Louis, you're seeing a good crowd. You're seeing good crowd noise. You feel the game coming through your TV. And it's a really exciting 2017 season for this group. They have big ambitions of trying to step up even further from being only the class of the Eastern Conference the last couple of years.
Right. Absolutely. With those comments, I could piggyback and say a team like that who's essentially bringing the momentum from a city, having all these players getting amped up for these games on the weekends, knowing that they have the potential to create something great for their city, you can't ask for anything else as a player. You want to have that hype, that potential increase in attendance, obviously an increase in exposure, increase in level of play. Everything just comes to play one of these Saturdays. So exciting stuff.
James O'Connor signing an extension along with his coaching staff through the 2020 season. A guy who, and I said it to him, and I don't know that he necessarily felt the same way, but Louisville made a commitment to him because he won. But he made a commitment to Louisville because he sees them as a franchise that just continues to make these major leaps forward, including these very strong plans for a soccer-specific stadium in 2020. This is an organization that really has its entire game plan under control on and off the field. He also said he's focused on the field and he'll let the front office handle everything else. And I'm sure as a guy who was around MLS at its first start, you're just focused on playing the game like these guys, right?
Right, absolutely. As a player, exactly. Leading into the game, so potentially you're looking at a MLS move down the line the next 10, 20 years. I mean, obviously maybe shorter, but that's the ultimate goal for these players. So USL is an amazing league, and these teams are great. But as a player, you're leading to the MLS, and you're going to look into working harder. You're going to try to improve. So absolutely, this is all a great move for U.S. soccer.
Mike Watts, Albert Munoz with you for the start of the 2017 season. What a dream day it is in March in Kentucky as Louisville hopes to get off on the right foot as they seek their first piece of major silverware as Valesky got behind the defense, and there's the reason why he was offside. The new goalkeeper is Tim Dobrovolsky, 2-time Mountain Valley Conference Goalkeeper of the Year when he came out of Loyola Chicago. 23 years old, stepping in for the injured Greg Ranjitsingh right at the end of the first half.
Only a second appearance, you said.
Yeah, that shutout against FC Montreal. And talking with James O'Connor this week, he said, that really gave us a lot of confidence in him that he could play at a high level for us. And he's going to be tested maybe earlier than anybody could have anticipated.
But sometimes as a player, when you come up and you're thrown into the mix right off the bat at a young age, you're going to step up to the plate if you really want to play soccer, obviously, play professional sports. So this is a great test for him in the second half.
Steps off his line and collects here. You were a field player, so you always sort of, if you're in the 18, I could play today. The situation being what it is could change that equation as Lancaster fires up and over. That went right between Pleva, who's new from New York Red Bulls too, and Tosh in the back line, Cochran.
Yeah, unfortunately, he had to reach for that ball. If he would have had the chest over the ball, just a slighter moment, he would have had a better shot on that goal. But he had two defenders around him, so the pressure really got to him there.
But a goalkeeper coming off the bench, you never really, I mean, you try and be ready, but you never really plan for that,
it's
right?
Definitely tough to prepare for that mentally. That's why to be a goalie, I mean, it's an exceptional being. I have many friends growing up that are goalies, and I've always said that they're special people. To be a goalie, I'm sorry, I would never be able to be a goalie. I've tried, trust me.
Ballard takes a tumble as Albert Munoz, compassionate and empathetic towards goalkeepers everywhere. We talked before the game, and Albert says, you know, I can always appreciate a good attacking midfielder, but it appears you can appreciate much more than that as it comes down to Dave Legoric.
Oh, yeah.
There's a goalkeeper who's maybe the centerpiece of this transition for St. Louis, moving over from Colorado Springs. Attack falls apart. Del Piccolo. Played wide by Ownby, who had a great first half. Tracking back Sheldon. Gorick.
You're seeing glimpses of good ball work there in the midfield there from Del Piccolo. We want these players to mostly touch the ball, 1 or 2 touches most, but they're really moving the ball up the flanks, and they're trying to get these crosses in, which is ultimately their best play.
And in the run of play, that's really where we saw the best work from Louisville City in that first half, was attacking on the wings.
Absolutely. It seems that they want to go through the midfield through Del Piccolo, but they want to open up wide and then try to get a proper cross in so like a striker could head the ball in. I'm sure they do a lot of set piece practices during the week.
And not just during the week, the entire preseason. I'm sure that's something they've been working on. And for Louisville, a little less turnover than most teams in the league. They're primed for a great start.
But I got to tell you, Mike, in preseason, you're mostly working on your fitness, right? You're getting all these two-a-days going on for, a couple of months. And you're not really at the peak of your technique. So it takes a couple of professional games, first handful of games in the season to really get your feet in the first season.
And a bit of an argument from Stoikov, who's into the books in the 50th minute. With LA Galaxy 2 back in 2014, played in another league in 2015, reached the USL semifinal. Another guy with playoff experience who's still arguing that case. A foul which came right as the ball was released by Ballard. Easier or harder to strike this much closer to goal than a corner?
Easier.
Yeah?
Absolutely. You have more precision on the pass. Hopefully this is a good moment here.
Del Piccolo curls it! And it's deflected back. Another opportunity for Louisville if they can retain possession. Instead, Stoikov is down to the ground. Good interchange. Played in by Del Piccolo and lifted up and over at the last moment by A.J. Cochran.
He's definitely showing some versatility there with his right foot. Oh, dangerous ball. Dangerous ball. That was short.
Look at Ownby, head on his hands there.
Because he knew it was a great pass. Those don't come that often. That's why. And now another corner kick here. Let's see if this is the one.
Ripped in again. And they'll try another corner, which continue to pile up right now for Louisville City.
You think they'll set the record for corner kicks in the game? How many are we at? 7 now? 8?
I need to call Nicholas Murray over at USL headquarters. Find out. Whipped in again. First ball headed out. Louisville there to backstop it. Williams.
Oh, great
Played in
touch.
by Del Piccolo. That's a good play. Lancaster punched away by Gorick. Play still alive. Played into the middle of the 18. Deflected back out. Davis fires right at Gorick.
Well, the pressure is definitely there. See if St. Louis can build an attack here. With Angulo on the right.
Volsky does well to take that bad hop and at least put it out for a throw. And we take a look back at what was a hectic couple of seconds there in a moment. A throw coming.
Wow, a little collision there with the two players. With Lancaster trying to get the foot on the ball. He tried to flip the ball over his head, but he couldn't reach it. He was uncomfortable there.
Louisville grinding right now for a game. Altering goal. Still 0-0 in this, the 53rd minute. Mike Watts, Albert Munoz saying hello, whether you're watching on TV in Louisville, part of the new TV deal, or all around the world on YouTube in the USL Match Center. This retooled, Preki-led St. Louis FC side hanging in there against one of the conference's best as they move back east and start with this rivalry game on the road. You can see the St. Louligans behind the bench over there as Howe comes off, and the first sub of the match checks in Wes Sharpie. Smith. Lobs long. Kicked away before Ballard had a shot at it. Louisville attacking again. Deflected on the through ball for Lancaster.
Now St. Louis coming up from the front. Working their waves up with their touches. Mirkovic and Stoikov need to really combine to get more of a flow for Guzman on the right and ultimately the ultimate pass to Angulo in front.
This is good work. Comes to Davis. Spins down in the box. Plenty of contact. And the shot deflects.
Another corner
and it's
kick.
out of play. Another corner for Louisville City as they continue to attack. But play is back over at the top of the 18. Gorick is arguing he just went into the book, it appears. And the captain, Mirkov, who's already in the book previously, is arguing his point as well. And here comes the corner. Up and over the crossbar as Del Piccolo had that float away.
Mike, I'm not sure if you agree, but those two midfielders, oh, there's a playback for the lead up of that last shot here. Great intention on this one-timer by Lancaster. If it wouldn't have been deflected, it would potentially have been on the goal mark.
And I agree not only about Mirkov and Stoikov, but the ultimate contrast is the defensive midfielders for Louisville. Davis and Del Piccolo have really decided the way this game is going to be played. They have won the central midfield of this field.
That battle has definitely been won so far by Del Piccolo and Davis. They've controlled the essence of the flow of the game. I'm just saying that St. Louis, I mean, if they really want to pick up their opportunities to really reach a shot on goal or even a goal, these two midfielders need to pick up the flow of passes for the attackers.
Morad a little bit banged up. Preki is arguing on the touchline with the fourth official. Davis. Kick towards Pleva. Lancaster, did he get a piece? He did. Throw. The team in green. Last year, just 8 wins, 36 points, 14th in the Western Conference. They've never reached the USL Cup playoffs, but they've made massive changes. The most retooled team in the entire league. And this their first chance to showcase all the additions that they've made from the technical staff onto the field. Throw for Louisville. Lobbed into the box. Lancaster doing well to keep it. Was aiming for Ballard. Comes free to Williams. Williams part of that Red Bulls team that eliminated Louisville last year. Switching sides there. Davis. Smith.
Oh, great ball.
Davis. Deflected out. Cochran was the player to deflect it for St. Louis, and that's headed for a corner.
Anytime you see Louisville touching the ball through the Piccolo in the middle, they're going to flow through the outside. But when you have a penetrating through ball, that becomes a dangerous situation for St. Louis.
Del Piccolo. Ballard. Hometown signing. Playing Del Piccolo up the wing. A curler. Comes back towards Williams. There's attacking options available for St. Louis if they spring forward in time, and it looks like they had, but Dalgard wasn't able to get far enough upfield to take the leading pass. Obervolsky didn't get all of that either. That was dangerous.
That was a little dangerous pass, yes. Maybe he's a righty. That was probably a left-footed deflection he had to take there.
That was the ultimate benefit of the doubt from a field player to a goalkeeper. Ballard going down. Make it to Davis there. Pardon, Davis was down elsewhere. It was Ballard. Saw there on your screen. Davis chasing the game as Pleva wings it up the right side.
Great touch there. Wall pass.
Guzman combining. Good challenge.
Right. There's Guzman on the defense again. He's been working the entire game well on the right.
And Gulo deflecting it. Player waiting for his final instructions on the touchline in Mats Bjurman for St. Louis. Ombi. Lifted towards the 18 again. Cochran toe pokes it away.
Lancaster's gotten a lot of physical play there. He tries to take a shot.
To be more involved after the first half, and he's done a pretty good job of asserting himself.
Absolutely. He's that final touch. He's that final point to get that shot off. As a striker, you want all the feeding to come through, through ball or your back to the goal, so you could turn and create your own dribble to create your own shot ultimately. So that's what he's trying to do.
That's enough for Christian Valesky. 18 goals in the last 2 years, and the USL champion with Rochester Rhinos in 2015. He checks out without really ever making an impact with Angulo at the top of the formation. He's replaced by Bjurman.
He had a bit of a quiet first half, I must say. Need more presence on the ups end with Angulo up top.
And those things come with time. You don't want to. I asked James O'Connor this week, who's really going to stand out? He said, game to game, you really don't know.
Right. It takes time. I can't disagree with you.
Davis. That takes a deflection. How about another corner? This will likely be Jimenez. And Albert, when you think about game one, you want to make these vast 34-game-long predictions based off one game, but you just kind of want to see how the team plays together and hope that it carries.
Right. You can immediately see the cohesion that the three main players for Louisville have already, though. Lancaster, their Piccolo, Ombi, these guys are only going to get better together. So imagine Game 5, Game 10, how this is going to be. It's going to be a dangerous team.
Jimenez goes along this time, swiped away by Gorick. Stays with Louisville City. 62nd minute. Curled in again towards Lancaster. And now Pleva there to control.
Tell you what, Oscar Jimenez has a lethal right foot. Every single time I see him cross the ball, he has a great technique.
We talk about Del Piccolo and his left foot, but to have a player of that quality on both sides for set pieces is some kind of advantage, as slipping down and blowing a tire was Bjurman, who just came on.
It's very, very important to have that versatility in the team, set pieces especially. And as you can tell, when you have so many opportunities created by corner kicks.
This a great pass in, and the scissor kick, nothing there, comes to Lancaster again, deflected out by Pleva.
That gets exciting. You see someone attempt a side volley like that.
It was Ballard. My goodness, that would have been something.
Look at the airtime he got there. Absolutely. If he would have connected, that would have been a nice goal. Sweet goal. And Lancaster put some effort at the end there. See, as an attacking player, when you see some kind of creativity that way, it definitely gets you excited.
Gorick came out and tried to get a piece of that. Davis sliding, keeps it in. Louisville attacking again. And Davis nutmegged as he tried to get the ball away from Bjurman and St. Louis. And now Louisville got a throw out of it. By the way, talked about a potential bicycle kick opportunity in the first half for Angulo. At least he's won an MVP in this league. If Ballard tries the scissor kick, he's the only rookie on this team.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, as a youth player, you're always practicing these type of trick shots, right? Because it's ultimately essential as a striker. Ballard's a midfielder, so essentially for him to know this, and it's an instinct as a soccer player to do a bicycle kick. So why not? If he had the opportunity, why chest the ball if he could actually do a volley out of the air and score upper 90? You're going to try that. I'm happy he did.
Ballard, some strong work today for Louisville City. That's got to be really exciting for a group that's without Paco Craig, the defender, Sean Reynolds, also a defender for this group, who's got a 3-match ban to start the year. Mark Anthony Kay, the attacking-minded player who's with Canadian Youth National Team's U23 squad, and did start, one of 3 USL players to start on that U23 team. So they are in play today.
Now, Mike, minute 64, 65 coming up. Typically, players, once they start playing a full game, around this time, around this minute, they start getting loose, believe it or not. They really get in the zone. They really feel comfortable with what they're doing. So we should see an uptick in the quality of play at the moment. Show a lot of more opportunities from these players.
Heavy contact from Cochran. Davis keeping the ball, even though Lancaster took the brunt of that contact.
Great pass there by Lancaster. Popped it up to himself.
Right over Ownby, yep. Throw in, Louisville attacking. St. Louis collecting. Trailing back the substitute Mats Bjurman. 11 in green, who was on Precky's list of players that he wanted on his side when he arrived in St. Louis. That wasn't a recruiting trip. He had a list of guys he wanted, and that's one of them.
Last couple of plays from St. Louis, a couple of those players just touching the ball back and forth. Sometimes you need to slow down the pace of the game to make sure everyone's spread out and maybe create some quality finishing. Great stuff.
Lancaster retreating to take the ball. Mirkovic and Guzman both in the area. Guzman got a big piece of the Louisville striker.
Great touch in there by St. Louis.
Mirkovic. Gorick, that new coming second-team All-USL goalkeeper, who's the maestro behind the symphony. Bjorman, the header, comes to Smith, lobs it upfield. Louisville spring forward. Ballard just had that drop off his foot in an inopportune moment.
He was busy looking upfield to see what pass he was going to make. He didn't realize the field was a little short there. It happens.
I feel like that's an appreciated skill when it works.
Absolutely. To be able to control the ball without looking at the ball is definitely years of experience.
Perfect sliding challenge, hooking the ball back. Comes to Cochran. Tries Guzman, who was offside. There are 4 offside in that first half, 2 per team. We've seen less of it in the second half. So far hasn't been tested. Dobrovolsky. Will that change? Will St. Louis finally put the pressure on the young goalkeeper playing his just second professional league contest? Ballard trying to weave between 2 players. Eventually Bjorman took it. Dalgard.
Oh, that was dangerous. Lancaster almost intercepted that.
Louisville as a newcomer waiting to come on. The next stop. This is not a game that James O'Connor and the staff here at Louisville were looking for a draw from. And so they look to make an attacking-minded substitution in a moment's time. Louisville scored 52 goals last year, second to New York Red Bulls 2, reaching the Eastern Conference Finals for the second consecutive season. Last year won both meetings against the St. Louis FC side. And Sharpie just can't believe it. He's whistled for the foul, and the substitution is coming for the home side. That's enough for George Davis IV. Strong work in defensive midfield. And on comes Luke Spencer from rival Cincinnati.
Mike, you say an attacking presence is coming into the game. Very important in the last 20 minutes of the game for them to actually have all opportunities possible to have someone that could create a finishing opportunity.
Del Piccolo. Wide of Gorick, who touched it last. It's another corner for Louisville, who are seeing their opportunities come and go. This is just yet another corner kick for this side.
Spencer has some height on him. Maybe he could come and make that difference.
Piccolo. Gorick smart enough to come off his line. Mirkovic out for a throw. .14 corners. Goodness.
All it takes is one. Let's see. Just one more.
'71st minute, that ball took a poor hop off that bulging bicep. Fangulo. Tried to unlock Ballard.
I really like to see these players when they really control the ball and they put it on the floor and they start touching the ball. That's great soccer to me. That's how you really develop a great play out the wings. Need to get their midfielders more involved in the center.
Guzman, Bjorman. That's by Mirkovic. St. Louis backstops. This is the best possession they've had in quite some time. And it breaks down on the pass to the wing. Williams Slicing ball. Del Piccolo.
Oh, great, nifty pass there. Could always appreciate that type of pass. It's a flick.
Smith. An open tryout brought him to Louisville. Kyle Smith, for the second consecutive year, finds himself in the starting lineup and integral to the way this team plays. Lancaster brought down, and Mirkovic a heavy challenge. Lancaster may have ran into his line just a little bit more, and Mirkovic needs to be a little bit careful here.
Lancaster's such a dangerous player. They're really, really watching him carefully. He's being beat up all day today.
Mirkovic has a yellow card back in the 50th. Ballard settled and kicked back towards Smith. I'm not sure I would have taken the challenge we just saw in Lancaster if I were Mirkovic, if I was playing on a yellow card.
It's tough. Sometimes you forget. You do. You forget and you just go in, obviously. But definitely, you have to be more careful with those tackles.
Williams playing Lancaster. St. Louis pinballs it out. Yeoman going back from Mirkovic.
I have to say, St. Louis has really picked up their possession in the second half. They're really holding the ball much better now. They're flowing, they're passing, they're controlling, slowing down the pace definitely, trying to lead up to something dangerous.
Did Brecky see the numbers we saw at halftime? It's 59-41 possession in favor of Louisville City at the half. Dalgard with that lethal service. Going for Sheldon and St. Louis. Dalgard 7 in green on the opposite wing is going to be an interesting guy to watch because he was key to Danny Koenig's Golden Boot winning season in Oklahoma City a couple of years ago. Pardon, he fell just short, of course, of Matt Fondy for that Golden Boot. The guy who is trying to re-find his form after OKC at times sputtered offensively, and he found this change of scenery to St. Louis. Attack on for the roadside. Cross whipped in just over Bjurman. And it skitters all the way towards the touchline where Smith has to play it. Lobs it long. Lancaster fires. Punched away by Gorick, who was caught on his heels, and Lancaster found himself unbelievably open.
I'll tell you what, Lancaster had an ideal bounce on that ball. As a striker, as an attacking player, you have that bounce and you have that volley opportunity, you're going to take it. And it's one of the best strikes to have in soccer.
And you would have hit it there, right?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. No trapping involved, just one-time shot. Same thing he did, same try.
Del Piccolo, 15th corner of the match. Knotted out. This time it's that outside back, Matt Sheldon. You said it like 10 minutes into the game, and I thought you were joking. Could this be a record for most corners? But I'm really coming around on this, and I need someone at the league office to let me know how close we are.
I've never seen this. This is the first time for me.
Attack again.
Oh.
Across the face of goal, longing for the touch.
Seems like a practice, literally a practice, a corner kick practice.
I don't know that you could get 16 corners into one practice.
Tell you what, though, it's goalie's worst nightmare to have a bunch of corner kicks on you. He stepped up well every time.
Another one-touch pass into dangerous position. That ball may never come down. There it is, Smith. Del Piccolo. Tried to get clever, instead came to Bjurman. Kicked ahead by Toch.
There's a thin line of how clever you could be in the midfield. Very dangerous when you start rolling the ball or cutting the ball like that. If it works out, it looks great, but if it doesn't, you might have an attack on your own goal for Del Piccolo.
Luckily, numbers were moving forward at the time, because that could really get ugly very quickly.
Exactly. Great touch by Onby.
Onby still going, and now he's whistled for the push.
Second time he does that, Mike. He dribbles well, and then all of a sudden he had an interception, a player intercepting him, and he just plowed through him.
Conrad Pleva is the injured player. Pleva last year in August suffered a stroke on the bus with the New York Red Bulls 2 on their way to a game in Richmond, and was available in the USL Cup final just 2.5 months later. He was the injured player there at center back, and he's back up on his feet, the former Seton Hall man, and a sub coming in Maxi Alvarez, the former player for Sacramento, who was very recently added to the roster for St. Louis. What can St. Louis do? As they make an attacking substitution of their own. Heavy collision, Stoikov ramming into Lancaster, who's done a yeoman's work today, and Lancaster is rolling around on the ground.
Like I said, Mike, he's taking a beating today, Lancaster.
How's that feel?
Oh, they're hitting the ribs. He's a strong player. He'll definitely get back on his feet.
James O'Connor could not say enough nice things about the fitness and the strength and the ability of the Englishman Cameron Lancaster, who trialed for the team, flew home, and then was offered a contract when he was back in England to play for Louisville. We get another look.
Oh, it was a prior foul. Oh, no, this is it right here.
Spencer, which led to that.
Hip check to the ribs, looks like.
You say a prior foul, it turns out there are just two fouls in one,
exactly.
one replay. That's fine camera work by our colleagues there at Rush.
See what Spencer.
He hasn't seen the ball much at all, has he?
At all. He just came in. Hey, look at that. Oh, that would have been a great ball.
Not bad.
Not bad.
It's a low shot. Gorick handles. The question here late might be which substitute makes his presence felt more in the final minutes, Alvarez or Spencer, those two attacking options that have come on. Is the chair pulled out?
Right. See what he has, Alvarez.
There he is.
It's definitely lefty.
Smith.
Trying to get that cross in there.
Played him right into it.
Oh,
Spencer does well to keep the ball. Spencer plays it left. Lofted back towards Lancaster. Ownby again. Turning on Sheldon. Attacking the corner. Lifting the cross. Spencer is there, headed by Mirkovic, and comes down to Gorick.
So Lancaster laid off the ball to Spencer. He had a great run-up, but all of a sudden he turned to his left. He might have opted to take a touch to his right to get that shot off. He had a dangerous spot there.
A great atmosphere here in Louisville, Kentucky. As that is an attempted snap header. Comes down to Dobrovolsky. And those numbers don't lie. Usually when you see numbers like that, Albert, it's 3 points to 0. But right now, these two teams would share the spoils.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Louisville that they've had so many opportunities, but they haven't been able to capitalize. But that's the game of soccer. Doesn't matter how many times you try, it takes one goal.
Yep, you're not paid like Evel Knievel, as one comedian once said. You get paid by the attempt. Well, you have to complete it to get paid in this game.
Yes, sir. A great ball.
Spencer. Yerman combining with Mirkovic. Smith trying to put his foot in. St. Louis might have numbers as they move forward. Louisville resettles their defense. And attacking down the wing is Sharpie. Cochran. Offside as Toch. The additional push and a round of applause from the Slugger Field crowd. Louisville waiting, make one final substitution of the 3 they have available. Williams, there's Niall McCabe waiting for Lancaster. Can Lancaster make one last big play on his way out the door in game 1?
Overall, I'd say he had a pretty aggressive game. He's had a lot of opportunities. He's showed well. He's had a lot of physical activity. But his game's ending now.
Niall McCabe returns after a season-ending hip injury last year, and Cameron Lancaster, who had a strong year mainly on the wing in his first game as a striker, got better as the game went along. Comes to Spencer, setting up a shot right at Gorick.
First touch of the game.
McCabe.
That would have been exceptional. Super sub.
Had a labral tear in his hip late in 2016, and he put his full swing into that.
Wow.
Boy, that's a storybook kind of event, wouldn't it be?
That's what you hope for if you're coming in at the 84th minute.
Yeah, but I feel that way whether I was injured last year or not. Louisville City plays at Orlando City B next on Thursday before they return home against Tampa on the 15th. So a 2-game road swing through OCB and Richmond. Those games you can watch locally on TV in Louisville. And make sure you're here for that Tampa game on the 15th as they welcome the newest face in the United Soccer League, the Rowdies, coming over during the offseason. Well done by Sharpie, falling away. Fell apart. As Mirkovic made his effort. Trying up the right-hand side. Octavio Guzman. Service is deflected out. Corner kick. Not often we say this for St. Louis.
Let's see what's a store for Guzman's right foot. Alvarez actually with the left foot.
Alvarez. A terrific set-piece taker. He's got his man, Cochran. The line well defended. Alvarez dangerous on the second try. And Dobrovolsky is there.
Hate to say it, but Louisville has had many opportunities to be a corner kick, but they haven't been able to connect any headers. The first corner kick from St. Louis, and they connected on the header. Comes to show.
You think back, Louisville's best corner came 15 minutes into the game. They hit the crossbar.
Correct.
Since then, you could argue they've gotten about the same amount of offense out of it as St. Louis.
Exactly.
Quick restart from Bierman.
Quality over quantity, right, Mike?
That's correct. If either team finds a goal, it would be quality, that's for sure. Doesn't matter the quantity now. Late in the game, ripped in again, offside netting.
Last-minute pressure from St. Louis. You never know, they might have a surprise here in store through Alvarez.
And Alvarez, a guy who played for Preki in Sacramento and just never really seemed to totally mesh with Paul Buckle for whatever reason out there with Republic. And he was a guy who got some MLS attention for his work out in Sacramento. Some trial opportunities, but he may be a total steal for St. Louis. McCabe tried to knot it further.
Oh, great touch there.
Heck, Guzman.
Oh, yeah. Still as energetic as the first 5 minutes.
He's still going.
Yep.
Sometimes you look at Guzman, he's built like a house. Sometimes you just feel like he's a man and everyone else is boys when you look at it from this level.
Yeah, he definitely builds his game around his athleticism. You definitely want that outside in the wing.
Spencer was moving towards the ball. There has not been a 0-0 draw in the first 6 meetings between St. Louis and Louisville in USL competitions. Will that change today? Guzman. Alvarez turning, playing it towards Bierman. Guzman recollects.
Dangerous ball there by Alvarez.
He's had a nice impact.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Those are the best type of centers you want, the crosses from your forwards. Straight back to the 6-yard box.
Niall McCabe wanted to go, and the yellow card combined with the eventual injury as St. Louis able to recollect their thoughts here.
Oh, yeah, a lot of physical action there. Great fight for the ball.
Mirkovic, player who had the hard tackle on Niall McCabe.
So Piccolo's excited to get back into play.
Now with a yellow card, because it was issued, I do wonder if the yellow card is by the player who ends up hurt. Is the official able to come on and they don't have to burn a sub, which St. Louis no longer has? Or it's a new rule that they've implemented to try and lessen the impact, the negative impact of having your player injured on a yellow card or ejection-worthy offense. But it doesn't really address the fact that sometimes the guy who commits the tackle also gets the yellow and gets hurt.
That's ironic. And unfortunate at the same time.
That's correct. Mirkovic is able to stay on. That ball was behind midfield.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Every inch counts, I guess.
Well, if Del Piccolo can put it in the net, get that final touch they've been looking for, and we'll address whether or not the additional 5 yards meant all that much.
Definitely has a sense of urgency, Del Piccolo, when he plays. That's great in the center midfielder. He wants to get the ball in and create an opportunity.
Legitimately, this is another 2 or 3 minutes of stoppage time simply because we just stopped for 2.5 minutes. Williams, the header, gets over Morad. Could this be it for Louisville City? Ricochets out. Williams Dalgard.
Could be a breakaway here. Oh, cut off.
Stopped up by Smith. Ballard able to keep it.
Great
Purple
footwork.
advancing. And a foul committed by Mirkovic.
I have to tell you, every time Ballard gets the ball, he creates some kind of emotion. He's constantly aggressive going forward. Hopefully this could turn into a positive shot here the last few minutes.
Stoppage time winding on.
It's a bit far for a shot, but might be looking to chip it over the wall. Oh,
Williams, he
went
wanted
for
it all.
He went for it.
Louisville City, Modelo USA Man of the Match, voted on by fans on Lou City's Twitter, is Richard Ballard. How's that for a debut? And to your point a moment ago, really good work.
I definitely have to agree with him. He's created a lot of havoc in the third quarter for the actual Louisville team here.
Whistle back in midfield. This shorthanded Louisville City side, without Craig, Reynolds, Kay, Ilyich did not suit up today. Only 5 available off the bench. Lost their goalkeeper in Ranjit Singh right before the half. Hit the post in the first 20 minutes off a set piece. If you take 1 point away from this, it's not what you wanted, but you certainly got off to a positive start in this season, assuming they're able to get this result here this afternoon.
Great glimpses of what's to come for these two teams. They showed well, a lot of cohesion, a lot of passes, a lot of shots, opportunities, getting their feet wet, essentially in the season.
Here comes Louisville, time running low. Jimenez, who showed well, particularly when the ball was not in play in this affair. Playing where Paco Craig tends to play. And we have reached full time. Louisville and St. Louis play to a goalless draw to open Kings Cup competition in 2017. And for Louisville City, I think you walk away feeling like that is a performance to build on.
Absolutely, Mike. They'll definitely have more scoring opportunities during the season. A lot of these players, like you said, first time they have these opportunities to shoot on goal, get these crosses in. They could only improve from now and on to the next couple of games.
We have highlights and stats coming up for you here before we say goodbye. Louisville plays at home next on the 15th of April against the Rowdies of Tampa Bay, but a couple of road games before we get there. And we hope you join us as part of this really exciting new TV package that Louisville City is taking part of through the $10 million investment that is USL Productions. And for these fans, the ones who do not make the trip to the next couple of games, will get the opportunity to watch regardless as James O'Connor applauds the crowd. 0-0 at full time. We wrap it up when we return.
My hair is too long.
I don't feel right, but when I get a cut, I'm me again, only better. My tattoo gets feistier. My crazy eye snaps to attention. I become my own Wi-Fi hotspot.
I just downloaded the entire internet.
And trust falls? They don't even scare me anymore.
That pomade really broke my fall.
Get in, get out, back to greatness. Download the online check-in app. Great clips. It's gonna be great.
Boomba's Pizza and Tap House in Louisville is the place to watch the game with your friends, where you'll find what Food Network says is the best pizza in Kentucky. Game day and social hour specials starting at just $2. with an award-winning menu and the city's best beer list. Just one slice of our craft pizza and you'll come back for every game. With 5 area locations, Boom Ba's is Louisville's destination for pizza, beer, and sports.
The most important financial decisions aren't made in banks. They're made around kitchen tables and on porch swings. They're made over dinner and over coffee by real people trying to do the right thing for their families, today and in the days to come. We understand that. In fact, it's the reason we're here. We're Main Source, and we want to be a great bank for you.
Mike Watts, Albert Munoz, welcoming you back to Louisville. 0-0 the final score, as Louisville City in the first game of 2017 doesn't get the result they were looking for, but a strong result nonetheless. We take a look at our full-time statistics, and Albert, this is a game where the shots really did tell the story. Louisville controlled the game, and St. Louis is able to control enough to get a point on the road.
Take a look at the possession, though. There was a big change from the first half to the second half total of the final game, 53-47. It really does show that St. Louis picked up the pace in the second half to control the ball much better. But unfortunately, the shots were all there, but they just didn't go in.
6 total cards in this game. There was a lot of ill will between the teams as we take a look at our full-time highlights. And from the outset, a lot of anticipation and excitement for this game. This, in the opening 20 minutes, the best opportunity for Louisville City on the game.
Full of corner kicks this game, full of opportunities from the crosses, full of corner kicks and ending in headers almost on goal. So, as you see here, great shot on goal here by Ballard.
Ballard voted man of the match on Louisville City's Twitter page, and rightfully so. There are 6 total cards in this game. That came from Del Piccolo. Move forward to the second half of play, and this was a much calmer effort from St. Louis, but Louisville had their chances. That's from Del Piccolo trying to find Lancaster. Gorick had to come off his line several times. Lancaster had opportunities late in this game, and in total, Louisville City very easily could have come away with a goal.
Oh, yeah. They just needed that one proper shot. It just seems like they're taking shots from too far, or the corner kicks weren't on point, on target. But this side volley was an exceptional attempt by Ballard, but it just, like I said, it wasn't their day.
As the team finishes with a +17 shot advantage, Del Piccolo service from both sides of the field on both free kicks and on corners, of which well over a dozen. Lancaster here had maybe the best opportunity, and I don't think anybody even saw it coming.
Oh, no, absolutely. It was an expected bounce, but it was a great bounce for him. As a striker, you want those volleys to come in place, proper timing of the foot to shoot. It really happened for him, but unfortunately, it didn't go in.
Well, these fans had a lot to cheer for in this game, but in the end, it finishes Louisville City 0, St. Louis FC 0, and the two rivals, which are back into the Eastern Conference together, are even in the standings as it stands right now. So the two teams combine 0-0 for Albert Munoz, myself, Mike Watts, Abe Aponte, Scott Ferguson. Thanks for joining us. Final score in Louisville. They share the spoils, a point apiece. 0-0.
Copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.